So a new experience for Paul Coleman from the Way Valley Club in Guildford. He's never before played in front of the television cameras, but then the same can be said, I believe, of his opponent, Gary Smith. Nice and easy for recognition today. It's Paul Coleman in the red shirt and red bowls, Gary Smith in the blue shirt and black bowls. Are they black, Andy, or are they very dark blue?
I think they're navy, David.
Yes, my old eye is letting me down again. Both seasoned international players, these, and both former winners of this title, the English Indoor Bowling Association Men's Indoor Singles. Paul Coleman was champion in 2006 and Gary Smith in 2 years later, 2008. It just shows how class tells, doesn't it? Out of 100,000 or so bowlers in this country, the quarterfinals of this championship is absolutely rippling with talent, international bowlers, and some of them even top 16 bowlers in the World Bowlers Tour. All come through the hard winter challenge, month after month, game after game on a knockout basis. And here they are, challenging for a place in the semi-finals of the English Men's Indoor Singles Championship. Coleman, the younger of the two, he's 32. And holding 2 shots now, good ones. Gary Smith, a very youthful 49.
Paul Coleman made the better start, takes a 2 on the opening end.
second end of this quarter-final, and it's Paul Coleman powering away. Great opening delivery from him. Gary Smith, the man from the northeast, plays for the Stanley Club in County Durham. Yet to find his length. That's the line, no problem, but bowlers at this stage hope to drop onto a good length as soon as possible.
Yes, can't fathom that one out. Gary's been playing really well throughout the championships, David, and all of a sudden this morning, first time under the TV lights, he's struggling, but Paul Coleman's putting him under pressure, so Gary needs a good ball in here just to get the nerves settled a little bit. This is better from Gary. This is what we expect.
Yes, that's what he was looking for. That's what he was hoping for. He'll be feeling better now.
Good reply from Paul Coleman. Oh, well played. Excellent ball.
Psychologically important too, isn't it? At that stage, the timing of that, beautiful. Gary Smith had played his first excellent delivery, and the reply instantaneous.
Good try from Gary, just missed his line slightly, but it's a good weighting ball, so Paul I think will be going for position here. Doesn't need any more balls on the head. I think he'll be going behind. He's got a good shot. I don't think he'll be going near this head.
What we have, we hold. That's a change of hand for Coleman. Forehand. Plenty of green, reaching weight. This is just what he's looking for, and a smattering of applause for that. People who realise exactly what Paul Coleman was trying to do there. Get the back position in. Oh, that'll do, he says, that'll do. Well, Gary Smith will be looking to spring this jack and hope that it goes nearer to the black one than the red one. So it's been Paul Coleman all the way so far, opening with a double, following up with a single. the man from Way Valley in Guildford, leading 3-0 after 2 ends.
Opening ball from Paul Coleman. This is his strength, David. This is what Gary's got to fight against. Paul Coleman will draw here well all day, so Gary's going to have to start drawing better. Hasn't really started well so far.
Stashed it away. Well, Mr. Consistency this morning, Paul Coleman. He couldn't have made a better start. Gary Smith, formerly of the Sunderland Indoor Club, now plays for Stanley. A lot of the top bowlers in the northeast tend to gravitate towards Stanley. It's a very attractive indoor stadium and full of international players at the moment, Andy.
Yes, very strong club. International series held there 2 or 3 weeks ago, but very strong club, as you say. All the top players have always gone to the top club in the northeast, and that certainly, along with Hartlepool, probably the top 2 clubs in that area. But back to the game here, and Paul Coleman, it really is dictating everything. Bowls close to the head and position bowls in here. I think Gary should be chancing his arm here. A big drive here.
Well, he's not driving. Maybe more than a draw, a reaching draw, as we say.
Well, sometimes and again, David, when you're starting to struggle with the draw a little bit, maybe just to loosen the arm a bit, a big drive, just to get loosened a little bit better, because at the moment Gary's struggling. He's not started well at all here. Paul Coleman's just dictating the game right away, so maybe just a slight change in tactic for Gary, just to change the game a little bit.
He's taking a conservative approach at the moment because he's looking to find his length, and he doesn't want to drive because that might delay it. But you're quite right, Andy. Sometimes it loosens the arm and makes you feel a lot better. Now then, Paul Coleman, can you get another one in here? Yes, he can. Very well played. The only problem with that, Andy, is it has widened the target.
Yes, I don't think there's any doubt now. Gary must drive at this.
Three shots to Paul Coleman. That would double his score, take him to 6-0. Gary Smith will be looking to spoil his opponent's handiwork. A running bowl, this. Still keeping away from the all-out drive.
Very close here, David. Oh, it's well played.
Well played. That really has made a difference.
I think it's still maybe 1 to Paul Coleman.
Yep, the bowl pushed through, stopped before popping in the ditch, and Paul Coleman came away with it with 1 shot, so it's 4-0.
Good strike from Gary, though. You'll feel a bit better after that.
And a little unfortunate, because that red bowl that went through towards the ditch almost went dead, and if it had, Gary would have come out of it with 2, possibly 3 shots.
Yes, I think so. That may have been a toucher, in fact, David. I think it was, actually. We could see the chalk on the ball, so Paul may have still have lain. But it was a better ball from Gary. But this man at the moment dictating all the play.
Quite a contrast between these two players. Paul Coleman, a specialist leads for his club, leads for England, whereas Gary R. Smith is a skip. He's been skipping for England now for a number of years. He's made 13 international appearances. Paul Coleman has appeared in 5 international series. And you, Andy, know both players quite well, and I think viewers are entitled to know that despite your accent, you are the England team captain.
Certainly am, David, and proud to be it. And both these players certainly part of the England team for the last few years, and a successful England team as well. So glad to have these two players as part of the team. Unfortunately for Gary this year, he had a slight back injury, but I'm sure he'll be back playing again.
Well, beginning to find it now. That's a good shot.
That's 7 inches short. My last bowl. Your last bowl. That's over a foot, 15 inches.
Yes, despite Gary Smith's absence from the England team this year, England were triumphant. They held on to the Hilton Trophy, beating Wales, Ireland and Scotland. The triple crown for England at Stanley this year.
Good reply from Paul Coleman. Probably got second ball out of that. He'll be happy with that.
Nothing too adventurous required here from Paul Coleman. Just a draw, I would say, Andy.
Definitely, David. Just a draw. There's about 7-8 inches to draw the shot. That's his strength. Plenty of strength. There we go. Rest his own deep red ball. That would probably be enough for the shot. Looking big. Oh, this is a great ball. Well played, Paul Coleman. And he's held on to the jack.
Good etiquette, good sportsmanship in this sport of bowls. It was Gary R. Smith who led the applause for that excellent delivery from Paul Coleman.
Gary's having a look here if he's running. Oh, just going to drop short. Still Paul Coleman, who's on the court and on the score again. It's 5-0 to Paul Coleman.
So Paul Coleman, 4 ends in succession, a double followed by 3 singles. That adds up to 5-0. He's relentless, isn't he? He's not giving Gary Smith any chance at the moment.
He hasn't, David, and once again it's the opening ball. I mean, most players who've watch the game and play the game know that this opening ball is so vital, and at the moment Paul Coleman is getting his opening ball close and Gary is not, and Gary's struggling here to find a length and to find a road. Not a good start from Gary Smith, but that's better.
Yes, that's what he needs. Well played. Well, it's fairly early in this end. In fact, it's halfway through, and both players taking the opportunity to come up and have a look at close quarters.
Yes, from the other end, David, 30 yards away, it's sometimes quite difficult to look at angles, so I think the players are entitled to both. Going back to the playing end, they've had a look at the head. I'm sure Paul Coleman has now got a picture as to what shot he should be playing here.
And Paul will be quite set back on his heels here, because he put his first bowl 6 inches from the jack and suddenly he finds he's 2 down.
What actually happened in this end is Gary Smith led off the backhand. He's been leading off the forehand, and that's maybe just a new tactic for Gary. He's played 2 good balls, so we may see Gary changing his hand a bit here just to try to find a better road and a better pace.
Back to the forehand now. Good position. A much, much better end here for Gary Smith. Well, this is a bit of a departure for Paul Coleman, playing a bit of weight. It won't get back. I think he said that on the way down. We all know that the faster the bowl is travelling, the less it will bend. But it does tend to hold off on this hand. But it's a swinging hand, but with weight, it does tend to hold off.
Yes, it does, David. And as you say, Paul Coleman right away said that the ball was too wide. He knew right away. Well, it looks like Gary Smith's going to open his account on this end. Yes, I'm on the TV.
Well, you won't have anything for this.
Oh, it was a poor delivery. Didn't want it there, but anyway, he's on the board. And I see a different tactic now, David. I think we'll have a different change of length.
Yes, of course, these days, if you win an end, you take the jack on the next end. There was a spell when there was a choice. You could give the jack to your opponent, but nowadays, it's take the jack. That's an absolute rule, and it means you can change the tactics, of course. If you've been struggling on one length, you can try another. He's brought the mat a few yards up the rink. It's a 3/4 length jack that Gary Smith is employing in his attempt to come back into this game.
Now what you actually see here, David, is that Gary Smith has now reverted to the forehand in one direction, the backhand in the other, the opposite to Paul Coleman. So he's thinking quite hard at the moment, Gary, and once again he's got a good opening ball. So good tactics from Gary Smith here at the moment.
Oh, beautifully played by the man from Surrey. That's the way to do it. Paul Coleman plays for Cheam Sports Outdoors, and he holds quite a record of having played for England indoors and out at junior and senior level.
Yes, let me tackle that. Sorry? Your first ball is about 10 inches.
A Wimbledon fan, Paul Coleman. His second choice club would be Newcastle, which is not to Gary Smith's liking. He's a Sunderland man through and through.
What's the position?
Good bowling this, Andy.
Very good bowling. Both players have settled, but it's still 2 to Paul Coleman here. I think I'm going to have to change his hand. He doesn't want to be promoting Gary here. The black ball on the right of the screen, that's what he doesn't want to be pushing in. So changing his hand to the forehand, could still draw another here. Chances for Gary here, David. Quite a good head. Any contact in any ball must be good for Gary Smith here. So there's a chances here by reaching into the head, 4 feet, 5 feet away. Ball, jack, all good for Gary here. That's well played.
Yes, a nice little split there, played with just the right weight. Didn't want the jack to go too far. That's perfect. Gary Smith taking on fuel, and food for thought for Paul Coleman.
Difficult head this for Paul, David. I mean, I don't know any movement of the jack. It would still probably have Gary lying. So this is difficult one for Paul to score here.
You could play a good bowl and make things worse, in fact. But let's see what he's got in mind. So another shot to the Geordie, Gary R. Smith, edging back against Paul Coleman. Just 2 shots behind now at 5-3. That's the extra single popping in on end 6 there. All Coleman for the first 4 ends. And now it's Smith on the march. Can he keep it up? We talked earlier about the Newcastle-Sunderland connection. Gary R. Smith being a Sunderland supporter and Paul Coleman being a Newcastle fan after his own favourite, Wimbledon. But a lot of the top players have got affiliations to football clubs, and you know, I believe yours is Charlton.
David, why did you have to mention that? We're having a poor season.
Well, we all have our cross to bear.
Exactly. Take the rough with the smooth. We'll come back next year so much stronger. Good ball from the Newcastle man. Paul Coleman trails it perfectly for 2.
From 2 down to 2 up at a stroke. Great stuff from Coleman.
I think both players have settled now, David, and both now starting to play a lot of good balls. Heads are developing with every ball, and that's what we wanted to see here this morning in the quarter-final.
Oh, no fuss at all. Calmly done. A big bowl. A lot of pressure. Perfect.
Absolutely perfect, David. Gary Smith got his drawing arm in, resting any red ball he was going to score. He was always going to fall in. Draws to perfection. It's back to Gary now. Good end of balls.
It's just occurred to me with the Newcastle connection. We know that Paul Coleman is from Surrey, plays for the Way Valley Club, but supports Newcastle, and it's a question of taking Coleman to Newcastle.
Oh, he's unlucky with that, Paul Coleman. Pushes another shot in here for Gary Smith.
Two it is, quite clearly. We must avoid any sexist remarks if this is going on Sky.
Well, David, I think there's a choice. There always is a choice. It's a backhand runner here or the forehand draw, and It's really down to Paul, and the way he's looking at this, it looks like a backhand running ball. Catch the one of the black balls that lie, and the Jap may spring over to the two red balls on the left hand side, so I think he'll be attacking this.
Yes, a shade of weight here. Ditch weight, you call this. And held off. Once again, the bowl holding off with weight. And 2 shots to Gary R. Smith. It's 5-all after 7. So what a turnaround we've had in this match. Paul Coleman opening with 5 shots in succession, and Gary R. Smith replying with 2 doubles and a single. 5 apiece. In fact, something tells me that Gary R. Smith is a bit of a slow starter, because he did this in his second round match and was 4-0 down after 2 ends. Went on to win 21-5.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, David, that some people come out the traps quickly and others don't, and I think this morning it's fair to say that Paul Coleman has started better, but Gary's got into a rhythm a bit better. In fact, both players now are playing what we'd expect, good bowling, so this is the potential to be a really good finish, in fact a really good game here.
Gap between my bowl and the jug?
2 inches.
What's the gap between last bowl and the jug?
But, well, bowl and a half.
Gary R. Smith plays golf as well as bowls. And funnily enough, Paul Coleman lists golf as one of his interests.
Excellent ball from Paul Coleman. Draws another live 2. Problems here for Gary Smith. Here's Paul Coleman's ball coming in. A side toucher.
Yeah, Yes, pretty to watch, especially if you're a Paul Coleman fan. Well, there's a Paul Coleman fan, if ever there was one. That's Maria, who is Paul's fiancée, getting married in October. A good attempt there from Gary R. Smith, but just holding off with weight. That's the 4 or 5 times we've seen that in this match so far. Just slightly misjudged and giving Paul Coleman a chance for another one, but he's got to be a little bit careful, Andy.
Yes, David, he doesn't want any jack movement, but I don't think there's a lot of difficulty. I mean, because he's got a side toucher, the jack's more likely to go sideways, so I'd expect Paul to change his hand and draw another here. Big chance for a 3.
Good try, just a little bit too much weight. He deliberately played it on the wide side not to do any damage, takes 2 shots and moves back into the lead at 7-5. Eight ends played in this quarter-final, and only 2 shots separating the players, both of whom are playing in top form, and I feel there is more to come. Officials of the English Indoor Bowling Association hard at work, making sure the tournament runs like clockwork. Two top internationals, 2 former winners of this title. Gary R. Smith in the lilac top and black bowls. And Paul Coleman in the maroon shirt and red bowls. Coleman from the Way Valley Club in Guildford. Oh, perfect. He really is looking very self-assured this morning, Paul Coleman.
Good reply from Gary, unfortunately. Gone through the gap and still 2 down.
Sorry?
Did that go between the bowl and the jack?
Pass.
Round it.
Round it, yeah.
Not even second. Paul Coleman took up bowls when he was 11, influenced by his father, but names as his greatest influences in the game. A well-known bowler in the Surrey area, Paul Vamvakopoulos, commonly referred to as the Greek. And his mate is Chris Young, and also he owes a lot, Paul says, to Wyn Richards, Welsh-born, England international. Great try.
Good try from Gary. I don't know if he's 2, maybe still 3 down here. Umpire will let us know. It's still 3 shots here to Paul Coleman, so Paul will be looking to add another, sticking to his favoured forehand. Gary's ball falling away, so certainly still 3. Nice smooth delivery he's got there, David. Gets it away really well.
He really has developed into one of the most consistent front-end bowlers in the England side.
Yes.
You know, to have him as lead in your rink has got to be a bit of an advantage. Look at this.
Excellent bowling. 4 excellent bowls. Well, Gary, don't think you'll be short with this ball. The 2 deep balls are black. Any movement into the jab must be to Gary's advantage, so he'll be hitting the target here. Once again, here we see Paul Coleman drawing wonderfully well. 4 great balls.
No doubt it's 3, and just a very small doubt as to the 4th one. The marker, Ian Gilbert, has signalled that in his opinion it's 4 shots, and it looks like that from our overhead shot.
Oh, it's a poor ball from Gary. I thought he would have went faster with that one. Under the head.
I'm just wondering whether his back injury is restricting his delivery, Andy.
Possibly, because he should have been faster. He looks to me as if he's struggling a little bit with the bat, the way he's walking there, but he should have been hitting that faster. Didn't give the ball, he gave the ball too much of a chance, and he was always under from the hand. And it's 4 shots to Paul Coleman, 11-5. That's a big gap now.
Yes, Paul Coleman has made the break from 7-5 up to 11-5, and now he looks in complete charge. Well, the match so far, 9 ends played. Coleman, the better start. Then Gary Smith caught him up. And now Coleman, with a double and a full house of 4 shots, has made the break and leads 11-5. Makes it look easy.
Drawing very well is Paul Coleman. Once again, it's these opening 2 balls are very strong, putting Gary under a lot of pressure. At the moment, Paul Coleman by far the better player.
Good response from Gary R. Smith, and viewers who may be wondering why we are referring to the man in lilac as Gary R. Smith. Well, there is another Gary Smith who was distinguished as a partner to my co-commentator Andy Thompson, now the chief executive of the World Bowls outdoor body and based in Edinburgh. But he was a great partner of yours and a very, very good player.
Certainly was an excellent player, David, and still continuing to play international bowls. Unfortunately, he's now playing for Scotland, so he's crossed the border a bit like myself and playing for the country that he's living in, and playing very well still.
That really is ironic, isn't it? And perhaps again for the viewers' information, we ought to explain that national affiliation is all due down to clubs. If you belong to a club in Scotland, then if you're good enough, you play for Scotland. If you belong to a club in England, if you're good enough and if you're selected, you play for England, whatever the country of your birth.
Back to the action, and Paul Coleman's played a big one here. Oh, he's touched the jack, but it's still one to Gary. Good try from Paul though. There we go, Paul's ball coming in, wanted to pick up the jack, slices it, probably reduces the count to 1.
Yes, a firmer contact would have made 2 shots, that's for sure. He won't be displeased with that though. He's cut the count down and he's got a positional bowl. And what's more important, he's got another bowl left.
Yeah, Gary will be looking for position now. I don't think he'll be able to add any more to this head. Anything behind the jack is going to be good for Gary here. 2 deep red balls, splitting these 2 balls, that's a good ball.
Notice how Gary, when he goes down to pick his bowl up, he's doing it very gingerly. I think he's in a bit of pain.
It's not a bad ball over there, David. That's a waiting ball if the jack is sprung. But Paul Coleman's such a good drawing player. I don't think he'll be attacking this. I think he'll just be playing the draw on the backhand. Try to move. Any movement on the jack will be good for Paul Coleman here. So this will just be a draw here. You could see the screen there. Past the short red ball, touch the jack, score 2.
Can it bend in time?
What a try. He's just lacking pace. What a try though.
So the shot survives. This was Paul Coleman's final attempt to beat the black shot. And although Gary Smith has a bowl left, he decides not to use it. Far too dangerous. He's quite happy to take the 1 shot, which moves him on to 6. Paul Coleman on 11. 10 ends played then, and 5 shots the difference. Plenty of G. Smiths around at international level. We talked about Gary A. Smith, who was Andy Thompson's former partner. We have Gary R. Smith here in the quarter-final of this England singles. There's a Gavin Smith who plays for Ireland, and I believe there's it's a Graham Smith who plays for England as well, and I believe there's another Gary Smith in Scotland knocking at the door.
I'm sure you're correct, David. You know every bowler in the country. There is also a Jerry Smythe who lost in the final of the national triples here.
Yes, that's right, yes. And I think the way to pronounce his surname would normally be Smith, but because he's got a Y in it, and because there are so many other G. Smiths around, they call him Jerry Smythe.
Paul Coleman's turned his back on that delivery. You know, he was short, not reaching the head. Wouldn't be happy. Well, this is one of Paul Coleman's worst ends of the game, and chance for Gary to get back into the game here. Lies 2, chance for to draw another. That put the pressure. Yeah, Paul knew he didn't deliver it well.
Yes, going through his delivery again. He's not quite happy with that. I don't know why a bowler should start misfiring like that. He's been bowling so well, almost on automatic pilot.
Well, I think he was forced into the other hand, David. I think that's why he's been playing this forehand well. He was forced into the backhand, and that's why he didn't play the backhand well in this direction. Chance for Gary Smith to be lying 3. This looks like the third shot coming in. Yes, it is. Well, last ball from Gary. Moves the shot ball, makes it a bigger target. Still just a draw from Paul Coleman.
He's interested in this one. Yet again, just under green, fractionally. And how many is it? It's 3, we think.
Definitely 3, David. 11-9. Gary Smith back in the game once again.
Well, a game of fluctuating fortunes this. It certainly is. Coleman was in charge. Smith caught him up. Coleman went ahead again, and now Smith is making inroads. So who would pick a winner in this England quarter-final? Just 2 shots separating the players. Paul Coleman, here he is on 11 shots. His opponent Gary Smith on 9. And although Coleman seems to be the more consistent, Smith has that ability to dig deep. He's a resilient player, and he stayed in contention.
He has that, David. Picked a good 3 up in the last end. Back in the game, really, Gary. I'd agree with you. Paul Coleman has been the more consistent player, but at the moment, Gary's just digging deep. And line 2 shots after that ball. But this is a chance. This is a chance for Paul Coleman to get a good one in. This is the shot ball, this is the one he's after. That's the closest. Bit of pressure being applied now to Paul Coleman. 3 shots down here, needs a good one.
Well, Paul Coleman seems to have gone walkabout. Played a poor end on the previous end. This time he's not within a yard of the jack yet. This is better though. He's got the shot with this.
Well played, good retrieve. He needed that one. He knew it had a bad end. In fact, he did a bad 2 ends. Good recovery. Here's the ball coming in. Touches the jack, gets the shot. He'll feel a bit happier after that. A relieved man.
Shade of weight here. And once again holding off with that weight, not wanting to bend. That's Gary Smith out of opposition, out of ammunition now. And a great chance for Paul Coleman to add another shot and get back on the march.
A chance to add on the forehand, David. He hasn't played this forehand overly well, so I wouldn't be overly confident that he'll draw another here. Not drawn well on this side. Once again, a chance to draw another drop shot.
Just a little bit careful. Didn't want to spoil things. Takes one. Back in action. Paul Coleman leads now 12-9 after 12 ends. Most of the spectators here at Nottingham are bowlers themselves. They appreciate the skill and the tactics and the temperament of these top bowlers. Paul Coleman then gets the 13th end of this English Men's Indoor Singles Championship quarter-final underway, leading 12-9. It happens to be after 12 ends, but the ends are immaterial. The whole point of the singles game is to score 21 shots before your opponent. 21 up.
How far do I go?
15.
Of course, most bowls that is seen on television involve the sets format. Best of 2 sets, 7 ends or sometimes 9 ends per set, with a tie break if the scores are tied at 1 set apiece. But the domestic game, the grassroots game as it were, which we're playing here for a national title, it's the traditional 21 up. And some players prefer one, some players prefer the other. What do you prefer, Andy?
I think on the World Bowls Tour, I think on the portable rank, I think the sets is a better game. I think it's more concentration probably required, and we have obviously different tactics, respotting jacks and the likes, but I personally prefer the sets game. I think more tactics required. I think here it's a long drawn out affair. So I've got used to both codes, but I do prefer the sets. Thank you, David. Wow, good ball from Paul Coleman here. 3 shots. Gary in a bit of trouble. Gary actually coming to have a look at this. Here's Paul Coleman's third delivery. That's the shot ball.
Well, they really are taking it in turns to dominate here. Gary Smith making a bit of a comeback, scoring a single and a treble. But Coleman on the move again. 12-9 up and holding 3. This would be a really big pickup.
Yeah, this stage of the game, David, 3 shots would be a lot. We'll give him a good cushion going into the final stretch. So this is a big end for Gary. Needs to do something with this. 3 shots down. Not played this direction very well either on this forehand, so he needs a good bowl. This is closer. Has he drawn the winner? Oh, that's a very, very good ball. If not shot, certainly second. Yes, it's a shot. Well played, Gary Smith.
A very important delivery that. Slipping by the jack, stopping on the bowl, and that shot position. Well played. A little bit of chalk added there. A spray of chalk from Ian Gilbert, the match official, which means it's a toucher. And for those new to bowls, the chalk on the bowl means that if that bowl makes its way into the ditch at any stage during this end, it remains alive. A scenario that doesn't happen very often, but it's worth remembering.
Ball sticking to the draw, just looks slightly heavy. Good try.
Well, Gary Smith will be really delighted to be holding shot on an end which was building up badly for him. But there's no doubt he'll be trying to make 2 shots if he can.
Yes, well, he played a good third delivery, David, so just repeat the last ball. There we go, plenty of room, 3 or 4 inches.
Well, there's plenty of room for some. That shows the standard that they're playing here, doesn't it, in this national quarter-final.
Well, I think you can understand Gary dropping short. He'll be happy to take the one though.
One to Smith. He moves into double figures, but it's Paul Coleman who leads 12-10 after 13. Gary R. Smith, top England international, former winner of this England singles title. From Stanley in County Durham, playing against Paul Coleman. The Surrey man, plays for Wey Valley in Guildford, is 12-10 in front after 13 ends. 21 shots is the target. Gary Smith found himself 5-0 down, came back to 5-all. Then Coleman took the lead again. Smith fought back. Anybody's game. Dogged character, Gary Smith. Wow, what do you think?
Still, umpire fancies Gary. But he's got a difficult choice here. I think he's going to have to change to the forehand here, David. Try to draw. Certainly doesn't want to be pushing the red ball on the right of the screen in for another. It looks like the umpire's called that correctly. Does look like Gary Smith lies here. Could he be drawing another? Oh, I think he has. Oh, well played, Gary Smith. Definitely the winner. He's moved the jack. That probably means he's definitely got only one.
Just one down or two down?
Definitely one down there.
What's my last bowl?
It's now.
Yes, watch this. Comes in beautifully.
Between the shot bowl and
Looks as
the
if it's stopping. Falls in. And unfortunate to move the jack. Just the one shot.
Paul Coleman lacking pace with that delivery. That's a good positional ball.
While Gary Smith is locking horns here with Paul Coleman, there's another quarter-final going on across the green. And Paul Broderick there is from Wellingborough. That's Paul Broderick leading off. He's in the lead at the moment, 17-13, against Neil Smith from Swindon Westlicott. Broderick, very consistent player.
Well, Gary deliberately staying away from the head, happy with the one shot. Good position for Gary Smith. Paul Coleman's got to be careful here. One down is not a disaster, so I think it'll just be a draw here. He doesn't want to be playing here with any weight. Any movement of the jack must be good for Gary, so got to be careful.
Yes, there are occasions when it's very tempting to play a death and glory shot, but perhaps it's better to be patient, conservative, drop one.
Paul had a glance over here at the commentary box, David, to think what should I play here, and I think it's just a draw, Paul.
I don't think Paul needs any advice from us. I think he's quite capable of making his own mind up.
Certainly is. This is a forehand draw, but slightly reaching through. One to Gary Smith.
So yet again, it was very, very close. Just one shot separating them. Paul Coleman from Way Valley, leading Gary R. Smith from Stanley, 12-11.
High ball, please.
Yeah, 2.5 feet.
About my ball.
Yeah, a little over a metre.
So suddenly, after some very consistent play from both players, the standard has dropped, temporarily at least. The first 3 bowls on this end, there's not anything within a yard. This is better.
Needs to stop, David. Still running on, but probably the shot. A chance for Gary to get a good shot ball in here. Needs to run. That's the winner.
How far my last ball go?
15 inches.
Possibly another shot from Gary.
Probably only one.
Probably along the one down. I think it's just still a draw. Paul Coleman. Well, this ball needs to stop. Looks to be running on. Certainly 1, maybe 2 to Gary Smith.
But, I mean, from here, I'd definitely say it's just one.
Two shots to Gary Smith. For the first time in the game, Gary Smith takes the lead, 13-12. Oh, there we see Paul Coleman making an early inroads into the game, but Gary came back. But it was Paul Coleman with a big 4 that had a good lead. But as we could see, as the game has progressed, it's Gary Smith who's getting better, and for the first time in the game takes the lead, 13 shots to 12.
bowl? Yeah. How short am I?
About 3 inches.
Paul Coleman needs to get back on that horse and ride to victory. Oh, what? How good is that?
That's very good. And he's got the shot as well. Well, it's a forehand delivery from Gary. Not many balls have been played well on this side, but this is an excellent ball. How far is the jack going to move? Not very far. Well played, Gary Smith.
You really have to hand it to Gary Smith. He's, on the whole, been outdrawn by Paul Coleman in this match, but he's dug in deep, stayed in there, produced the bowls when required. It's one to black, or one to white, whichever way you look at it. The Smith's bowls are the black ones with the white discs. A real north-south encounter, this one. Surrey against Durham. How about that? This is the Surrey man from Wey Valley. Strong club. Guildford based. Plays for Cheam Sports outdoors, does Paul Coleman.
Will he hold up? I think he's going to go. Oh, good try. Any movement on that jack would have been good for Paul Coleman. Once again, not far away. Any movement on the black ball would have been to the red. Good try.
Missed his target by half an inch. And missing a target by half an inch when it's, well, almost 30 metres away, that's pretty good.
Not far away, but needs to dig a little bit deeper now, Paul Coleman. Gary Smith once again on the mat here. He'll be putting a position ball in here. Knows he can't go near the head. Anything behind the jack is going to be good for Gary here. Well, he's going close to the head here, Gary. I don't know whether this is required. He can give the shot away here. Oh, Gary, I don't know what you were doing with that ball. Well, if he's given that shot away...
No, he hasn't. He's got away with it.
He's been fortunate. Very fortunate. Didn't need to go near that.
Yeah. Well, from our angle, it looks very much like a red shot, but marker Ian Gilbert has had a very close look at it, and in his opinion, it's still one to white.
I don't think it changes the Paul Coleman shot. I think he's got to be certainly reaching there. We see Gary's ball about an inch away. Sorry, about half an inch away. Paul Coleman about an inch. But he'll be reaching through here. He's got a chance.
He's got the better back position, Coleman.
He's in the area. Oh.
Well, he may have done it. If he hasn't, he's been very unlucky. He has done it.
Well played, Paul Coleman. Got the target and then got the run through. Here we see the ball coming through. Moves his closest ball but follows through, touches the jack, takes a shot, 13-all.
What a great game of bowls. 13 apiece. 16 ends played, and being played in the best of spirit. Nice smile there from Paul Coleman, the 32-year-old accounts manager. Lives in Carshalton.
My father goes through, please.
About 18 inches.
Locked together at 13 apiece. Paul Coleman from Surrey, Gary R. Smith from Durham. And applause drifting across from the other quarter-final, where Paul Broderick from Wellingborough has beaten Neil Smith from Swindon Westcott 21-13, or is it 21-15? I think my old eyes are letting me down. The scoreboard's a long way away.
15, David.
Break. Yep, break.
Back to the action here. Paul Coleman lying 1. Number 2's coming in. In fact, the shot ball was coming in. Well played, Paul Coleman. Oh, that must look quite inviting, I would think, for Gary to reach through on the backhand here. He's Gary coming up to have a look at the head. Here we see Paul Coleman's third delivery, drawing the perfect ball.
Perfect bowl maybe, but it's level with the jack, and it plugs a gap. It widens the target to some extent. I think we'll probably see Gary Smith play a skip shot here, a running bowl on the backhand, Andy?
No doubt about that, David. Looks quite an inviting target. Jack through would score, hits the 2 red balls, may kill the end. So I'd expect Gary to be close with this one.
Doesn't seem to imply a great deal of weight when he runs at it. 1 out. You could say he needed a shade more weight behind that to help it hold the line.
Yes, as we talked earlier on about Gary Smith's back problem, it may restrict him to play the heavy ball, but he's only playing a timing ball as opposed to a very heavy ball. But once again, chance for Paul Coleman here. Any movement on the jack could be 2 or 3. And we see the position there. Any movement on the jack could all go to Paul Coleman's balls. Slightly heavy. Chance missed.
So it's different now. The last time Gary Smith was on the mat, he was playing an attacking shot. This time, it's probably a dead draw.
Yes, David. Dead draw on the forehand. To rest the closest red ball that's lying. That's the target. Rest up, fall in for the one. Or promote his own ball on the backhand.
Always a choice of shots, isn't there? And the player plays the hand and the shot that he's more confident on the day. Good weight with this. Oh, you can't do better than that. Drew the #1 shot.
I think the bonus there, David, was that he moved the jack. Here we come, shot ball coming in, but the jack actually moves up the green, which may be two.
Yes, it topples over, moves. Has it moved just enough to make two?
Well, that's a bonus if it's two. I think he was only trying to draw the winner. Well, Coleman's taken one out.
Yeah, move that one. Make sure for this one.
So the measure being applied by the match official, Ian Gilbert, wearing the new shirt which has been designed for match officials of the English Umpires Association. Just one shot. So it's Gary Smith first off the bowler's grave, the 13. He leads 14-13 now after 17 ends. It's a long game, but very interesting.
Yes, David, most ends are producing some good shots. As you say, it makes it interesting.
Well, they're playing away from the scoreboard at the moment, so you can see who is doing better in which direction. Paul Coleman doing better towards the scoreboard. Gary Smith's first bowl of this 18th end, just 15 inches short, beaten by Paul Coleman.
About 12 inches.
Paul Coleman has asked Ian Gilbert how far he was through with his first delivery. He got the answer, about 12 inches. And he's used the information. Good adjustment.
Which one? Front one, back one?
Yeah, front one.
Still my front one?
About 9 inches.
One to red.
This ball looks like the winner coming in. That's well played, Paul Coleman. That's 2 to Paul.
And it deserves double credit there, Andy. Not only is it in shot position, but it stops that black bowl of Gary Smith coming in.
Yes, Gary didn't hesitate much about the shot he's going to play. He knows that it's just a draw on the forehand, similar to his previous delivery. Draw the shot. Oh, well played, Gary Smith. What a big ball that was.
Well, how many bowls has he played like that, Andy? In trouble, comes in, draws the shot. Makes a big difference in a game like this.
Oh, it does. It's the big bowls that win you big matches. Gary Smith's produced a few over the last few ends. That was a big one. Trailing the Jat for 2. Can Paul produce the big ball? He's not far away. Oh, wrecked on the short one.
Didn't want that touch. He was homing in nicely. I think he'd have made it.
Yeah, I think he'd drawn the shot, David. But reduced the count, just to 1. Gary Smith 15-13 ahead.
Well, when you consider that on the 9th end of this match, Paul Coleman scored a full house to lead 11-5. This man, Gary R. Smith, has worked wonders to come back. He scored 10 shots to 2 since then, and now leads 15-13. And the whole balance of power of this match is changing, Andy.
Yes, it is. Gary's getting his opening ball closer, getting his favourite length, playing the backhand, and this has forced Paul Coleman to probably play his first opening ball on the backhand in this direction. So Gary Smith's winning the tactical battle at the moment and playing the big balls as well.
How short was?
9 inches.
Fortunate rub, but he was in the area as he got the shot. It's still Gary Smith. There we go, a nice little rub. Touches the jack, unfortunately falls away. It's still Gary Smith line.
And Ian Gilbert leans over to add a little chalk to that bowl. It's a toucher.
Well, I think it's 1 ball in and 1 ball out, but it's a better shot and it's a better head. Here we go. Removes the shot ball but falls in himself, and that's a better one than he previously held.
More difficult to beat. In fact, Paul Coleman is in all kinds of trouble here. I can't see him getting the shot with 1 bowl. Fortunately, he has got 2 left.
This is a lot of weight, trying to kill the end. Oh, he's very unlucky, very unlucky.
That was an incredible result. He hit his target absolutely full, outwent his own bowl, and that's the only difference he's made. He's 2 down now.
Oh, this was a good strike. Unfortunately, takes his own red ball out. He's 2 down on the head.
If he'd hit the black bowl, that jack would have made his way off the rink. There's no doubt about that. And we'd have had a replay. Can Gary Smith pile on the advantage?
Well, this ball was not counting from Gary, but as you could see, there is only 1 red ball on the green. This is the dilemma that now faces Paul. Does he run again? Takes his own ball out, he definitely drops a 4, or if he hits the target, he kills the end. Big decision to be made here.
I think he's got to go for it again. He was so close last time. He needs to play the same bowl that he did last time.
Same ball, he kills it. So here we go, big ball, hits the target, he must kill it. Good strike, excellent strike from Paul Coleman, well played.
That took a bit of courage. It took a bit of courage to make the decision. Do I fire? Don't I fire? He took the bull by the horns, had a go. He only had to play the same bowl as his previous one.
Yeah, it was bang on target. Knew if he connected with the shot ball, the jack would go off the rink. Start the end again. Good strike. Oh, he needed that.
And he feels better now, I'm sure. Things could have gone so wrong for him on that end. Right, a second attempt to play the end. Gary Smith remains 15-13 in front.
This is the secret now of Gary Smith's success. This opening ball was getting a lot closer, forcing Paul Coleman into the backhand. At the moment, Gary Smith's in the driving seat.
A marvellous response from Paul Coleman. Almost stole the jack away. Finished in a very good second position. This is good stuff. Oh, awesome.
Needs a big drawing ball in this direction, does Paul Coleman. He'll be feeling that this is slightly running away from him. Good try, but still 2 to Gary.
Well, the whole pattern of the game has changed, hasn't it, Andy? At the beginning, it was Paul Coleman who was setting all the problems and drawing beautifully to the jack, and now it's the other way around.
No doubt about it, Dave. Gary Smith has picked his game up. His drawing game has got better. Started to get these opening 2 balls closer, and he's asking questions of of Paul Coleman every end now, and at the moment Gary Smith is dictating the pattern of this game, and this is another shot. Well played, but has that given Paul Coleman another target, and will we see another strike?
This is coming into the count, but a wider head must be tempting for Coleman. He's shown his ability to strike and strike accurately, and I think he'll probably have a go again. No, he's going on the backhand, so it's probably a draw.
Well, feels confident. Nothing wrong with that. If you're confident of drawing a shot, go ahead and play it. Oh, he needs to run though. Well, he's dropped short, but he's given himself a target.
Three white signalled by match official Ian Gilbert. And that would put Gary R. Smith in a very good position at 18-13. Now, does he draw another one here and make it 4, or does he put a back ball in?
I think he'll go for position here, David. I don't think he'll go near the head. He'll be anticipating a drive from Paul Coleman here, so he's going deep. Good ball from Gary.
Yes, quite deliberate that. That's the direction which the jack is going. If it's hit, in all probability it will go dead again and we'll have another replay. But first of all, Paul Coleman's got to hit it.
Well, if he hits the target, David, he'll certainly take 1 or 2 balls out. So once again, he's got to hit the target. Hope his luck holds on. But once again, he's facing lots of pressure now. Paul Coleman needs a big one. Oh, that's an unbelievable result. Fantastic strike, and Paul Coleman apologises. That's not what he played, but he gets 2 shots. What a result.
When he delivered it, he shouted, "Jack, Jack." He wanted the jack to move, but he didn't think he was going to get it this way. Oh, off his own bowl, off the black bowl, the jack goes out to the side, and it's 2 shots to the man from Surrey. And would you believe, we're all square again at 15-15.
What a result here, David. Gets a nick off the red, then nicks the jack to his 2 red balls. Definitely not what he played, but what a big 2. Back in the game, 15-0.
Paul Coleman was 3 shots down, and he turned it into 2 shots up. A difference of 5 shots at this stage. That could be crucial. Coleman not looking quite so cool, calm and collected at the moment. He's puffing and blowing out there a bit. It is quite hot, Andy.
It's very hot out there, and he's had to play 2 massive drives in the last 2 ends to keep himself in the game here, because Gary Smith was looking like he was going to be running for home. But it's 15-0, so it's still anybody's game.
How far did I go?
Just under 4 feet.
No doubt about it that it's Gary Smith is asking all the questions at the moment.
Good reply from Paul here. Shot ball going in. Well played. This is turning into a good game, David. Both players really playing well now.
Who would pick a winner?
Not me.
Don't blame you. This really could go either way, and we're expecting it to go down to the wire.
Gary supporters shouting this ball in. He's probably drawn it, is he? Oh.
Will it fall out?
Last bowl.
Last bowl, mate, yeah.
The last bowl is shot for the moment, but it's on a tilt.
My last bowl.
It could fall out at any moment.
4.5 inches.
Oh, he's got a chance here. If he touches the red ball, oh, he's pushed it out. It's definitely one, maybe even two now.
He pushed it closer initially, and then it toppled away. It's one shot, we're told, to Gary R. Smith.
Well, Gary's target here is the red balls, any of the two closest red balls. Rest one of them, he'd count another. Looks to be under though, not running. That was a chance for Gary Smith.
Well, the shot is with Gary Smith at the moment, but the position is all with Paul Coleman. If he could pick that jack up, he's got all those bowls waiting for it. All three of Smith's bowls are short of the jack, and he might pay the penalty for that.
Yes, third ball was loose from Gary, but I think Paul will just be trying to draw the shot here. I don't think he'll be playing the trail, just a draw. If he draws the shot, Gary's in trouble. He's very close. Oh, it's a good try, but I think it's still Gary Smith's. Good effort.
Very unlucky there. If he'd rested his own bowl and fallen in, that would have been enough. It's definitely only the one now to Gary Smith. And he's going to be a little bit careful here.
He's playing the forehand here, David. Safer hand. Chance to draw another.
Just a little bit too keen. It's one shot to Gary Smith. But Gary just looking to see if he wants to measure for more. No, he doesn't. He's willing to take the one, and that edges him in front yet again. Advantage Smith, 16-15 after 20 engrossing ends. So the story of this game, well, it's ebbed and flowed, hasn't it? It was Paul Coleman who opened with 5 shots in 4 ends. Back came Smith, scoring the next 5 shots. Coleman went into the lead. Smith caught him up. And it's been nip and tuck ever since.
Once again in this direction, Gary Smith gets that closest ball in first, forcing Paul Coleman to play the backhand. And he's not as happy on this side, reaching through the head. Once again, good bowling from Gary Smith. Well, really is asking a lot of questions now with Paul Coleman. Is it the big drive again, David?
Well, I think it must be, surely. And Coleman was walking to the mat. He's decided to go back to have another look at the angles to see what's going to happen if he does hit it. He's had a fair amount of success with his running bowls, and the last one was an all-out drive with a lot of pace, and this one could be the same.
I think so, David. I don't think he's got no choice. He's just facing pressure after pressure. Can he hold on here, Paul Coleman? Playing the draw. This is a hard shot here.
I'm amazed to see him stick with that draw for the moment, but of course if he can draw the shot, that would psychologically be a big boost to him.
He's having a look. He's having a look. Oh, good try. He's probably got a third shot out of that, David. Only 2 down. And it's a bigger target.
Yes, unfortunate there. I think he probably had just about enough running to make it if he hadn't made contact with that black bowl. Leaves him 2 down. Smith trying to work out what Coleman has in mind next. And I wouldn't mind betting it'll be another back bowl here.
I think so, David.
Position.
Gary has got 3 balls in the head. Doesn't need any more. Needs a back ball because Paul Coleman will be running. Yeah, this is the back ball. Quite right too. To anticipate what your opponent will be playing, and there's no doubt Paul Coleman will be driving this again. He got a fortunate result the last time in this direction. He's going to have to hit this again. Well, he's 2 down, David. You feel as though he cannot be any worse off.
Well, we have said that before. It is possible, I suppose, for him to take his nearest bowl out and drop 3, but that's not very likely the way they're sitting. He's got to hit and hope, surely.
I think so. I think so, David. I mean, he's 2 down. As I say, he could remove his own ball, but the chances are he would move a white ball as well. So I think he's got to hit the target and hope he gets a good result. He's 2 down anyway. Well, he's just playing a reaching weight. This is a more difficult shot. Looks to be under. Well, still 2 down. Good try.
Well, he might have come in for second there, I think. No, 2 it is. Bit unfortunate there. It was a very well played bowl.
Well, it was difficult for him to get the shot with that pace. I think that black ball into the jar was the only result there. I thought a harder delivery would have paid more dividends, but as it was, it's Gary Smith who's taken an 18-15 lead and looks in control now of this game.
So Gary Smith from the Stanley Club in County Durham, within 3 shots of breasting the tape and clinching a place in the semi-finals of this English National Indoor Singles Championship. And the secret of his success is the way that he's come back from a rather scratchy start and started bowling superbly with his opening deliveries. Paul Coleman carrying the hopes of the south of England. Surrey man, 32 years of age, an accounts manager. Things not going quite right for him. He's not bowling badly, but he's not getting the rubs.
No, he's just gone off slightly. I think once again Gary has forced him onto his forehand, and he's not played the forehand well. What we'll actually find now is that Gary Smith, after this delivery, will probably be lying game. So that will also add a little bit extra pressure to Paul Coleman. That's 3 and that's game. So a lot of pressure on this ball.
Not just lying game, but a great lie. It's a good 3.
Paul Coleman's having to produce big bowl after end here in the last 2 or 3 ends. And he needs another good one here. He's close. Oh, that's a great ball. That is a great ball under that pressure. Well played, Paul Coleman.
Remember, the game was against him. 3 shots to Gary Smith would have put the Stanley man in the semi-final. To stay alive, he had to beat it. A perfect delivery from the Way Valley player.
This is not an easy shot for Gary. All the bat position belongs to Paul Coleman, so this is quite difficult. Well, he is reaching here, David. Bowl onto Jack's a disaster result here.
Bowl onto bowl would be good.
Bowl onto bowl's perfect. Oh.
Well, we'll never know.
Well, he took a chance there. As it is, it's 1 to Paul Coleman, and I don't think he'll be trying too hard with this ball.
Well, I think he's decided to play it.
I don't think he'll be trying too hard here, David. 1 shot's good enough. This is fraught with danger. 1's good enough. Get back to your favourite length. Change the game. Back in it.
Well, of course he can draw, and as long as he gives it enough green on the backhand, then he's safe. Played it carefully.
I don't think he's going near it. He's okay. No damage done. 1 to Coleman. 18-16. Still anybody's game.
Well, this is turning out to be a marathon. 22 ends already played. So those are the first 15 ends of this marathon. Coleman making the better start. Smith coming back. Coleman stretching out to 11-5 with that 2 and a full house on the 8th and 9th ends. And since then, Smith has worked at his game, scored shots on a regular basis, and has overhauled the man from Surrey. It's 18-16 to Gary Smith. And remember, 21 up is the name of the game.
Paul Coleman back to his favoured length, but he's not got that opening ball on top, and that's the difference between this stage of the game and early on, David. That opening ball was good.
Yes, it is. I mean, the first 5 ends, he was awesome. First bowl on top, dictating the pattern, end after end. And he had Gary Smith in real trouble. Now it's the other way around. It's Gary Smith coming in with his first bowl on a regular basis. Paul Coleman under the cosh.
Having a look with this ball. Needs to be run. Oh, just dropping short. Still Gary Smith. Gary clicking his fingers. He knows he's slightly heavy with this ball. Not a bad ball though.
Well, I'd settle for that. Shot and position.
3 inches.
Gary's bowl, Jack high.
The back of the bowl's level. Front bowl's half short.
He looks rather keen on this one. Well, second prize. He's got second and third now.
Chance for Gary to add another there. I think it's still just the one, but good position. Paul Coleman, just a draw on the forehand. Touch his own ball up for shot. Can't afford to do anything adventurous with this ball. It's just a draw.
There's 6 bowls delivered, 2 to come. The first of those will be from Paul Coleman, the man from the Way Valley Club in Guildford. The forehand draw.
Will he bend, David? Will he bend?
Not in time. Oh,
that's not a bad ball. That's
so close.
I think that saves him from losing the game. He's not got the shot, but he stopped Gary from scoring a 3.
Yes, brilliant effort. And as you say, Andy, the best that Gary Smith can do here is to draw another one and make it 2 and move on to 20.
Just held out. It's just going to be 1 to Gary Smith. Takes the 1, the lead's 19-16.
Well, it's been a game of all the skills. We've had some brilliant drawing from both players. A few running bowls, a couple of firing shots, 2 killed ends. .35 shots scored in 23 ends. That's fairly low scoring, especially given the fact that Paul Coleman did score a full house on the 9th end, and Gary Smith picked up a 3 on the 11th. Apart from that, it's been 1s and 2s all the way. The bad news for Paul Coleman is that his opponent has had the better in this direction away from the scorecard. Smith was very disappointed to miss out on the international series this year. He's played 13 series. Wasn't fit for this one, which was played just a few weeks ago. Has an injured back. Shown a few signs of being in pain during this quarter-final, but he's battled it really well. Paul Coleman still in with a chance. He only needs 5 shots to clinch a place in the semi-finals of this National Indoor Singles Championship.
Well, this is both players have played 2 bowls each here, David, and it's probably the both worst 2 bowls that they've both played. Bit of tension creeping in here. Well, Gary's closer with this ball. Is this a shot ball coming in? Supporters asking it to run. Well, it's not that close. Well, Gary, you don't want to have a loose end now. Chance for Paul Coleman to draw the shot. Trying to compose himself on the mat. Good delivery. Watching the ball all the way. And it looks like the winner coming in. That's good enough. That's the winner.
You talk about nerves, Andy, and these 2 players are hardened internationals. They've both won this title before. Paul Coleman in 2006, Gary Smith in 2008. But even at this level, nerves do play their part, there's no doubt.
Without a doubt. I mean, both players are seeking to get through to the semi-final, so nerves will play a big part here. But Gary Smith's supporters are cheering this one in, and that's the winning ball. Well, that gets him to 20 if it holds, and Paul Coleman has no back balls. So this is only a draw.
Once again, Gary R. Smith proving up to the challenge. He really has played some big bowls in this match. One bowl left from Paul Coleman. How can he make this count?
It's only a draw, David. He cannot move the jack back. He would lose the game. So it's just a draw. It's absolutely perfect draw. This is, well, as you could see from that, this is difficult.
If he can't see the jack from the mat, he has to come around all that front stuff and finish on a good weight, but he's pushed it a little bit too keen. Oh, he's a couple of yards through with that. The single to Gary Smith moves him inexorably towards the semi-final. 20 for Gary Smith, 16 to Paul Coleman. Well, Gary Smith has scored on 9 of the last 12 ends. That's an indication of how firm his grip has become in this national quarter-final.
It's like bowling like that. That's the reason he's picked his game up. Opening bowl's been good, David. Gary Smith is in control of this game now. Just needs to get that final shot to secure a semi-final spot.
And Paul Coleman seems to have lost his length in the second half of this match.
Yes, he has, David. In fact, he's been forced into playing the hand he doesn't want to play, and that's always bad for someone in his position who'd been playing the forehand so well. But Gary has dictated the play with bowls like this, putting Paul under pressure with every bowl, and Paul has not been responding.
Gary needs only 1 for victory, remember. He holds 2. Always useful to have 2 when you only need 1.
Needs to produce a big bowl on this hand. Is this the bowl?
Yes,
it is. It's the winner. Well played, Paul Coleman.
That's an indication of the determination that Paul Coleman has to regain this England singles title. Gary Smith, the 2008 champion.
Gary just reaching here. Does he have enough pace? Oh, he's moved the jab. I think it's still Paul Coleman.
Well, he pushed his own bowl in and it was shot for a brief second, or a millisecond, and then the jack went. We'll have another look at that, see how it happened. He would have been a little bit fortunate to do this. It pushes it in for shot, but the movement on the jack means it stays with the red.
Still with the red, but it's difficult for Paul to add another here. It's round the back. I don't think that's where he wanted it, but this is chance for Gary Smith here.
Well, Paul Coleman surely wasn't deliberately playing with that much weight. He's finished 2 yards through. I wonder what he had in mind.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt here, David. Maybe he's looking at something for his final delivery. But chance here for Gary Smith to seal the game. Red ball goes out, he lies game. Might be safer on the forehand.
Yes, the obvious shot is on the backhand to get the ball direct, but there are plants on the forehand if he wants to play it.
He also can't give the shot away on the forehand. He can give more away on the back, pushing ball onto jack. So this is just a dead draw.
Oh, he's close.
Very close. Will he stop? What a ball from Gary Smith. What a ball.
Well, this man seems to be able to pick out the brilliant ball whenever he needs it. It was an almost impossible position on a draw. He had to get within 3 inches of the jack, and look at this. It's a perfect dead length toucher. You can't get better than that.
Perfect ball. He hasn't played many on that side very well. Paul Coleman overreaching here, and Paul Coleman has 2 deep balls, so a good ball here could be a big one, big result.
Just to stay alive.
Oh, he's missed it.
Thought he was in with a chance, just edged off the front bow, and that's how much they think of each other. Gary Smith and Paul Coleman, they've entertained us royally in this quarter-final. It was Paul Coleman who made the better start, but Gary Smith dug deep, came through and won in the end 21-16.